everybody, CW here. Got another bullet video for you. Today we're going to do 45s, and specifically 45 handgun bullets. Excuse me. Let's start here with let's start in the back with the 45 auto bullets. Here we have one of my all-time favorites. This is a Hensley & Gibbs 130. It's running probably about 190, 191 grains as I cast it. It's a bevel-based semi-wad cutter bullet that's, you know, nationwide renowned. It's one of the most copied 45 auto bullets going. Next one up is actually not even a 45 bullet. Well, it kind of is. It's labeled as a 44 black powder bullet. It's made for 44 caliber black powder revolvers as a conical bullet. But if you know your history, you know how black powder pistols go. They run 4.51, 4.50, 44 caliber, run 4.50, 4.51 bullets. And this is a Lee mold, single cavity, and it drops a nice little 200 grain round nose that really shoots pretty nice. So I cast up some of them. I'm not a huge round nose fan, but they shoot pretty good. The next one in line I got mixed up, and they're almost identical. I believe this is the Hensley & Gibbs 130. Hensley & Gibbs 68. The last one was a 130. This is a 200 grain semi-wad cutter. I say mixed up because it's also very, very well, very, very much copied by about everybody. And the Lyman 4.52, 4.51, 460, I think, is almost identical. So it's one of the other. But it's a really good bullet, 200 grain semi-wad cutter in the 45 auto. One of the most popular 45 cast bullets going. This is an NOE mold, 200 grain, comes with a hollow point and a solid. So here's a solid. This is a really nice mold. I picked this one up used off eBay. It was barely used. And brass, 2 cavity. Really, really, really nice mold. And here is the hollow point that it casts. Giant hollow point. And this is probably about that's probably about a 205 as a solid. And this is about 190 as a hollow point. I did some testing on this expansion wise, and if you remember, Charlie Irby did a whole bunch of 45 hollow point casting a couple years ago, and I need to be down around 8 BHN to get good expansion at the 800, 780, 750 feet per second. Let's just shoot this in the 45 auto, and it's a good looking bullet. I happen to have a couple of them right here I was doing some testing with, and it makes for a really, really nice bullet. 45 auto. These are all set to be tested next time I shoot a 45. Next one in line is another Lyman bullet. Don't remember the number on this one off the top of my head. Again, I don't do many with round nose, but this is a pretty good round nose. It's not very ogivey. Generally, it loads it no problem. The one that doesn't work well is two bullets away. I'm going to show you. But this is about 210 grains, 215 grains as cast. This one's an RCBS 225, 45-225 TC maybe. Anyway, it's a really, really nice bullet, and I've got almost identical to this in a Lee 230 grain. This is the one that is very ogivey, and Willie and I went back and forth with this one, trying to make this one work. You got to seat it so deep, it's kind of silly looking. This is the 228 grain Lee round nose, and maybe if you didn't powder coat it, it wouldn't be as bad. But powder coated, you just got to seat this so deep. I really dislike the bullet. All right, that's what I've got for 45 auto, specific bullets. And of course, all those can also be fired in the Schofield or the long Colt or the 454 or the 460. But these are generally accepted to be more 45 Colt bullets. There's one more bullet there for the 45 auto that I couldn't find, that I've got the mold for and couldn't find it. I must have, I sent a whole bunch of bullets out to a friend of mine, and I think I might have sent all the ones I had cast, so I got to cast some more. But it's one of these. This is the 230 grain version. This is a Type 3 wad cutter. It's got a crimp groove, and this one's designed for the 45 Colt. Really old bullet design. Well, it's almost identical, but it's shorter and it's 185 grains. And that's the one that's made for the 45 auto. It lacks the crimp groove. And I think it's got one grease groove. But it's got that round nose. Almost like a funky looking semi-wad cutter. But we'll get back to that one in a second. Starting over here, this is a Little Lee 160. Round flat. Now you could shoot this in 45 auto as well. It could go in either one. But it is made, well, I won't say that it's designed for the 45 Colt, because it's certainly fine for either one. And it's just a neat little button. It's almost like a collar button in the 45-70. It's just a short little nothing bullet. Here's its 200 grain counterpart. This is the Lee 452-200, round flat. Great bullet. Really, really, really good bullet. Just shoots really nice, loads really nice. One grease groove, one crimp groove. This one's an Arsenal bullet. This was lent to me by my good friend Roger Walks on YouTube, and it's an Arsenal 210 grain that he used to use cowboy action, and it's a really nice mold. I got to cast up some more and package it up for him. This is that Lyman mold I was talking about a minute ago. This is the 454-309, I believe. 230 grain, made for the 45 Colt, 45 Schofield. This one here is a custom mold. I'm not sure if this was made by Lyman. I can't find a record of it. It resembles the Devastators, a great big hollow point, and it very well might be. I just can't find it anywhere. But the mold, it looks just like a Lyman, but the handle is different. So that's why I'm thinking it might be a custom mold. But I don't remember what this one checks out at, but it resembles a 270 grain RCBS, which is right over here. It's really close to this bullet in shape and dimensions and everything. But of course, this is a Lyman bullet and this is an RCBS bullet. But you can see how close they are. So I'm thinking this was a 270 to start, and it's probably about 260 now, maybe a little less. Next one here is a Lyman. This is a 452-424. And this is a really popular bullet. It's been popular for a very long time. This is the newer version of it. Again, this is the 452-454. And the reason I say that is because right here beside it is one of my favorites. This is the 454-242. The biggest difference is the me-plat, and I'll show you. They're not all like this, but my molds are. Lyman is notorious for not having consistency. So these should be identical, but they're not. You can see the purple one on your right has a bigger me-plat. But they're both about 255 grains as cast. They're both the same profile. There is a little bit of difference that I just noticed here. This one has a flat bottom grease groove. This one has a round bottom grease groove. So the purple one is a round bottom. The blue one is a flat bottom. And again, that just shows the inconsistency of Lyman when they cut their cherries to make their molds. This next one here is pretty neat. This is one that my buddy bought. He said, I like the look of that. He said, if I buy the mold, will you cast it up for me? We can share the bullets. I said, sure. So he ordered this one. This is a Arsenal. I believe it's Arsenal. It's Arsenal accurate, but it's a 45-250 FWC full wad cutter. And that is the biggest me-plat you're going to find in a 45. Here's another favorite bullet. I'm not sure if this is discontinued. This is the one I was talking with Jesse B about when he started his 45 Colt venture. This is a Lee mold 454, 255, I believe. It might be 452, 255, but I believe it's discontinued, but don't quote me on that. I just haven't seen him in a while, and he can't find one either. But I was lucky enough to get this in a 6 cavity used, and it's a really, really nice bullet. It seats quite deeply, so it feeds in all the actions without any problem. 2 grease grooves and 1 crimp groove. This one is a not a common mold, and the name is escaping me right now, and I should remember this, but I don't. It's not a common manufacturer, but they made really good bullets and really good bullet molds. This one comes as a 3 cavity mold, and one of the cavities is a hollow point, like Lyman used to do. So a little spindle and a little pin. And it makes a 265 grain bullet like this and a 250 grain hollow point. I don't have any of the hollow points cast. This next one here, this is the RCBS 45-270, another one of my big favorites. This is a good heavy bullet, usually shoots really good. Keith style, wide driving band, one grease groove, and it looks to be a flat bottom grease groove. That makes a difference with your lubes, with your velocities that you're shooting them at. But for us with powder coating, or me with powder coating, it really means nothing. These two are the same bullets with 2 different points. I didn't have any solids. This is an NOE mold that was part of a custom order for the 450 Bushmaster. So we got a cup point in orange and we got a hollow point in blue. And you can't really notice it, but the hollow point is a little bit smaller diameter, but deeper, and the cup point is a little bit wider. And it's, I don't know what these weigh off the top of my head, but the solid is 285. So guesstimating here, this might be 280, and this might be, I don't think it's 275, but maybe a little heavier than that. Just a little bit lighter overall. And that was made for the 450 Bushmaster, but it shoots just as good in my 45 Colt as heavy loads. Here's a really nice Lyman bullet. This one is one I've used from the beginning in my Bushmaster. It's a 290 something grain, 457 121, I believe. It's made for the 4570, but it easily sizes down to 454, which is what I run most of my 45 caliber bullets at. Here's a Ranch Dog 300. This is a Lee bullet, good size me-plat, gas checked. This was a borrowed mold, so I cast up a whole bunch of them. And this one here probably should be a cull, but it is what it is. I don't have the mold. This one here is a Lee 300 grain, 454 300. I bought this specifically for the Bushmaster, but it needs to be seated so deep because of the ogive. It's kind of fugly looking, and I don't like it. It shoots okay, but it's a whole lot better in the 45 Colt. So these days it's a 45 Colt revolver bullet, and it would really shine as a game bullet. These, I've got some with gas checks, and the next one here is a couple of the cavities. I removed the gas check because, frankly, at the velocities that I shoot these at and use this at, there's no reason for the extra expense or time to fit a gas check to this bullet. It doesn't need it at all. So, and this is also chromochrome after it's been hanging around and rattling around in a bucket of bullets. Here's a newer mold. This is one I recently got. This is an RCBS 45 300 SWC, because the other 45 300 is a flat point, and that one is made for the 4570. This one is made for the 45 Colt, and it's 300 grains, good size me-plat, very, very close to the 270, but a little bit heavier, and with a gas check. And the last one is an MP mold. This is a Ruger only, Penta hollow point. Only comes with a hollow point, no solid. And it's a 300 grain designed for the 45 Colt in a Blackhawk. It's actually called Ruger only. It's a 45 300 Ruger only mold. And it says that because the 45 Colt in a Ruger has a very long cylinder, and you're allowed to seat this and crimp it at that crimp groove, and it really leaves no more, where's a 250? It leaves no more in the case than a 250 grain would See there? No more in the case than a 250 grain bullet would, but it's 300 grains. So it gives you a whole lot of powder capacity, and it takes advantage of that extra long cylinder of the Bisley, of the Blackhawk, Bisleys too. And it allows you to really get some good velocities and good energies out of that big 300 grain bullet. All right, guys, that's what I've got on hand for 45 caliber handgun bullets. Pretty much covering the gamut. I'm sorry I don't have two of those bullets cast. I don't have the, I believe this is the 68. I don't have the 460, Lyman 452 460 cast. And I don't have the 185 grain version of this one cast to show you. I didn't realize that I had run out, so I got to fix that. That's about it. I'm going to do 35 caliber rifle and 10 millimeter. So watch for those coming next. God bless everybody. CW out.